My name is Lori Spalding, and we are coming to you live from Talkwad Studios in Tampa. Tonight we have some furry little guests with us, and we wanted to bring them along because I'm going to do a little bit different tonight, where it's kind of be a little bit of a public service announcement maybe. So if we want to take a look at these little guys, they're finally settling in. We have them in a pen, so they're not running all over the place tonight. But this is Duncan and Valerie, and hopefully they'll have a little bit of a rest while we talk, and then we'll talk about them a little bit later when we get to the adoptable dogs. Anyway, thank you for joining us tonight. And what I wanted to talk about tonight is something that has hit home, and it's something that I'm worried I see a little too much of people being unaware of it in the dog world, some in the dog rescue world, and some just in general. So tonight's show is going to be especially important for you if you have recently adopted a puppy, or you're looking to adopt a puppy, or even buy a puppy from a breeder, or God forbid a pet store. I have nothing against breeders as long as you're licensed and do right by your dogs, but pet stores, we are no-nos. So what I'm seeing is people walking in PetSmart and people walking in Petco, and they have their little new 7, 8, 9-week-old puppies, and they're either have them on the ground on a cute little, harness, or they have them in the cart, or even those that are a little bit more careful, they're walking around with them in their hands, but then you see everybody in creation going, "Oh, what a cute puppy, can I pet it?" And everybody likes to show off their new puppy. I mean, it just comes natural. It's a new baby. You want to take it to grandma's house, and you want to take it to the ballpark, and you want to take it to PetSmart to go pick out its collar and toys and everything else. So here's the scary part of that I'm a little concerned people aren't aware of. In the rescue world, we see this a little too often. But there is a disease called parvovirus. And parvovirus is especially deadly to puppies. It can affect adult dogs, but it's highly unusual. The puppies, unfortunately, until they have 3 sets of shots, are not protected from the parvovirus. So puppies this age, like you see Duncan and Valerie here, they're about 10 weeks old. So at this age, they should have at least 1, possibly 2 shots already. Some of the shelters and some of the breeders will do it at 6 weeks now for the first shot, and anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks after that. In rescue, we like to do it every 2 weeks just to make sure we get as much protection in them as quickly as possible. So here's the deal with parvovirus. You're innocently have your new puppy, you bring it to PetSmart, you put it in maybe in the cart, because you're not going to put it on the floor. It's too young, it doesn't walk, or doesn't want to walk on a leash without you dragging it. And what if someone previous to you in the last 6 weeks had another puppy in that cart that they had gotten that has parvo? Unfortunately, I really don't see PetSmart bleaching out their carts all the time. So what's happening is that puppy has now come in contact with the virus. Unfortunately, the virus can live in soil for up to a year. It can live in the carpeting, as we have here. It can live on your skin, though I'm assuming you take a shower. It can live in your clothing, again, hoping you wash those. But there's just all sorts of materials and all sorts of surfaces that it can live in. The only thing that kills parvovirus is bleach. So if you have not bleached your floor, if Petco, PetSmart, Pet Supermarket, any of the puppy stores have not bleached their carts out, or anything of the sort, then these little guys are at risk. So if you get a new puppy, do not place it anywhere publicly. Wait till it has at least 2 sets of shots, preferably 3, and then a week at least after that, before you bring it anywhere public where another dog or puppy might have touched that surface. I can't stress this enough, and I'm not trying to just be an alarmist. That drives me crazy, actually. Those of us that do rescue, this is incredibly important to us because we get our puppies either from shelters locally, or somebody turns them in, or it might have come from a shelter in Alabama or Georgia in Far's case. Some of the rescues up north in Boston and all those, they actually rescue from down in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, all that area. Now, parvo's not as readily there up in the north as it is down here, but I think a lot of it has to do with the ability for the virus to live for a long amount of time. Down here, as you know, it's 80 degrees. Don't be jealous. But unfortunately, a lot of the year round, that does allow a lot of the viruses and other things to live down here that you don't normally see up north. So some of the rescues that are pulling down from down here, even after quarantining, they're getting on transport, somebody's handling them, somebody's handing off to another. So if you're, say, the transporter, so that's the person who's helping get the dogs from the shelters to the rescue, and you have Duncan and Valerie here, and you move them into your crates, and then you go to the next set of puppies and you move them into their crates, you've now cross-contaminated those puppies. So yes, puppies love to tear up the the potty pads. Hopefully they don't tear it up before they go. So anyway, anything as simple as that is cross-contamination. It lives within the feces of the dog, which can be on the paws, which, as you know, could be anywhere on a puppy, could be on an adult dog's paws as they walk around. It can be transmitted so easily. Anything that has touched, especially, as I said, the soil, like the soil in the yard, anything like that, it can live for up to a year. It's pretty scary. So parvovirus appeared, I want to say, in about 1978, and it spread worldwide within 2 years. Absolutely ridiculous. There are 2 known strains of parvovirus with a potential third right now. There's an intestinal parvovirus and a cardiac parvovirus. So the cardiac parvovirus, as you can imagine, goes directly to their heart. It goes immediately in their bloodstream, and it's not pretty. Chances of survival from that are slim to none. The parvovirus that's intestinal, there's a little bit better chance of survival if you catch everything early. So one of the big things I wanted to talk about tonight, aside from obviously being careful, is knowing the signs. So the first sign that you're going to have with parvo is lethargic. If that puppy sleeps and plays and sleeps and plays, that's perfectly normal. That's what a puppy does, just like a baby. If that puppy really doesn't want to play or seems unusually tired or maybe sleeping for more than 5 or 6 hours at a time, that's highly unusual and should not be looked upon lightly. The next thing that comes with parvovirus is vomiting, and unfortunately diarrhea, which usually is bloody. Those of us that have been around it, we know what it smells like. It's a very metallic smell you can imagine in the blood. At that point, your dog's pretty far along with the parvo, and it needs to be rushed to an emergency vet immediately. So as long as your vet has a setup where they can hook the pup up to IV fluids, liquid antibiotics, and has injectable anti-nausea medications like Cerenia and famotidine, other medications like metronidazole, which is going to help the intestinal tract. All of that stuff, that needs to happen immediately. It's not something you can wait and see. Unfortunately, if you wait and see, the puppy's going to be gone. Once the puppy starts showing signs, you're looking at 48 to 72 hours generally. In some cases with the cardiac, you don't even get that warning. Suddenly they're having trouble breathing and they're gone. So it's a very, very serious disease. Our concern right now, and why I wanted to really talk about it, aside from, like I said, seeing people innocently not realizing there's dangers out there with their new pup, is that we're seeing it really hard in the rescue world right now. We have had 4 cases in the last couple of weeks, all in different homes, all from different shelters, all on different transports. So there's nothing really in common with these dogs. And some of them we can't figure out exposure. So it's something that the rescue world, I'm hoping we can get together and figure out if perhaps we have a new strain that we really don't know what the signs are that quickly, that they're going from first thing in the morning, all of a sudden seems a little lethargic and not eating, to by the afternoon, they're gone. So definitely want to gather our rescue world together, all of our friends. I know Pet Pals has been talking to us. Our friend Tara over there all the time. Rough Rescue and Roar Rescue and all these other rescues. There just needs to be pretty much all of us that somehow get together and figure out what's happening so that we can protect your puppies as you're adopting them. And I mean, that's really our thing. We love the dogs. Shelters, that give them to us, they entrust their care to us. So we never want to see any harm come to the dog. So very, very important. This is not just with shelters, though. These are, again, puppies that are coming out of breeders. We've had dogs that have been owner surrendered. And we thought, oh, no big deal. They don't need a quarantine period. They've never been in a shelter. Not necessarily true. We've had those as well. And again, that could just be that maybe they were out in the front yard and a dog walked by that was carrying it. Adult dogs can be carriers, and there's no signs and symptoms, and they're carrying it to another household. So just really, really wanted to get that out there tonight and have kind of a special show to make sure everybody understands that it's a real danger out there. If you're looking to get a puppy, have a puppy recently, you should not bring a new one in the household if you have had one. At least 6 months old, I would recommend, and again, 3 sets of shots. So that's the public service announcement for tonight. Thank you for listening, and hopefully this helps some people that have had to deal with that. So now I would like to transition to our adoptable dogs. We have got little Guy here. Let's get you out because you look so happy. Let's get you out. Oh, your harness is coming off. Hello. So this little guy is Duncan. Duncan is a 10-week-old lab mix. He came in with his siblings. Uh-oh, Valerie, you don't want to see your brother separated? I'm sorry. Let's see if we can do this at the same time. No, I'm not hurting them. That's how a mom picks up their puppies. They have this extra skin, see, it doesn't hurt. Okay, so now we have a bundle of puppy love here. So the whiter one is Valerie and this darker one is Duncan. And they came in from Levy County, which is just north of us recently. Last week, they were brought to the shelter by their owner. There's a litter of 4 of them. The other 2 siblings are black. So we definitely have some lab in here, but I think we definitely also have some hound going on in there. Their ears are a little long, and he's got this little dark coloring. Oh, you still have puppy breath. Love that. They are obviously, as you can see, very sweet puppies, very active, very healthy, and we're going to keep them that way. We quarantine all of our babies as they come in for 7 to 10 days to make sure they're not showing signs of any sickness before they're up for adoption. So these guys will be going up for adoption this weekend, actually. So they'll be posted on our website and on our Facebook pages. So for Facebook, it's Florida All Retriever Rescue, or FAR, F-A-R-R. And we have an available dogs album on there that has all of our puppy and adult dogs available for rescue. And we also can be found on petfinder.com or Adopt-A-Pet. And these little guys are fostered right here in Tampa in Citrus Park. So if you want to email us at adoptfromfar@yahoo.com, again, that's adoptfromfar@yahoo.com, then we will go ahead and answer your emails and get them off to the foster mom. She'll be excited to talk to you and see if maybe these little guys are something you want to take home. Right? Thank you for the kisses. I do appreciate that. You like that my lip gloss smells like strawberries, right? Is that what it is? Yeah. Anywho, thank you for joining us today. I'm going to put them in their cages as much as it's just cute to love on puppies. One's going for a jump. Let's get you in there. Come on, little one. I think I lost my mic over that one. Oh, our producer, Chris, is rescuing a puppy for us. Thank you. The mic, just a tip fell off, but that's the hazard of having puppies, along with many others. So if you're looking to adopt a puppy, please be prepared for it. It's a lot of work. They're a lot of fun, but it's definitely not for everyone, and you want to make sure that you're fully prepared for what you're getting into. And of course, FAR and any rescue, I hope, our responsibility is to make sure that you know all the good, the bad, and the ugly there is to adopting a dog, whatever that particular dog's needs is. So, anywho, that's our adoptable dogs for the night. So, what we normally talk about is we have a resource guide. In our resource guide, part of the show is just me sharing with you somewhere that you can go, whether it might be somewhere to stay or somewhere to eat or whatever it may be, that you don't want to leave your dog or puppies or multiple dogs or cats. Maybe they walk on a leash. Pigs, I've seen people walking pigs around events every now and then. Whatever it may be. There are definitely all sorts of restaurants, especially here in the Tampa Bay area, because if they have a patio and it's outside, normally they will allow an animal in there with you as long as it's well behaved and on a leash. That isn't always true. There are some places, I love Bahama Breeze, but they don't allow it. But there are tons and tons of places that do. One of my favorite things to do on Sunday mornings is to pack the dogs in the car and head over to Einstein Bagels. Einstein is right on Northdale Mabry. Don't know the exact address. I'm thinking it's about 1200. It's right by the McDonald's on Northdale Mabry in Carrollwood. Einstein Bagels, besides having awesome bagels and coffee and everything else, they have an outside patio area, and you are welcome to bring your dogs there. And they even have doggy bagels. So if you want to feed them one of your regular ones, they do have ones that are made with just ingredients that are safe for dogs. But my guys like to have 6 cheese bagels. So what we do is we sit out there and then we head to maybe one of the dog parks, and there's a lot of those nearby. I find people are surprised that we have so many dog parks around here. And it's, again, one of the reasons why I love living in Tampa is that I'm able to take the dogs to a dog park. There's probably 4 of them within a 15-minute ride from where I live. And East Dog Park, or I think it's called West Dog Park, is down right off of Sly and Occident Street. Here in Tampa, and it has a big dog side and a little dog side. Everything's completely fenced in. It is complete with big, huge kiddie pools and all sorts of tubs and stuff for the dogs to play in. There's all sorts of water available for the dogs to drink or whatever it may be. The park is huge. There's even agility equipment there, and there's picnic tables for the humans, of course. It's a lot of fun. Everybody's dogs that come in are really nice. They play all the time. There's no fights or anything like that. I throw my 3 in the car and usually a foster dog or 2 and run down there after Einstein's, and I had my breakfast and now they get to go run and play and enjoy the day. So just something fun to do here in Tampa. There's dog beaches, which is another cool thing. Being able to actually go to the ocean with your dog is wonderful. Now, some of those are a little less desirable than others. I prefer actual dog beaches where I would get in the water and not be concerned about what I'm in the water with. And I'm not talking sharks. I'm talking about more so, if you live down here, you know that there's causeway beaches, so like Gandy and 60 going over to Clearwater. Alongside the highway, literally, you kind of just drive off the highway and you can park right on the beach. And the problem with those 2 beaches really is that the water's not the cleanest, because it's also allowed for boats and fishing and jet skis and barbecuing and everything else right there. So people are kind of pulling their jet skis in and everything else. So it can get a little loud, it can get a little oily there. It's just not something that I would necessarily swim in myself, but there are gorgeous beaches around here. Honeymoon Island is a really nice beach over in Dunedin, and my favorite is Fort DeSoto. It's a little bit of a hike because it's down in South St. Pete before the bridge going over to Bradenton, but it is a beautiful beach. I mean, just white sand and clean water, and you walk through a dog park to get there, which is cool. Not necessarily going in, but it's awesome coming out, because you walk through the dog park, go out the back fence, you're right on the beach. Dogs are off leash, everybody's running, playing in the water, the kids are in the water. It's actually a really fun time. When you're done, then you actually walk back through the dog park, and they have a hose there, so you can get all the sand and salt and all that junk off your dogs, give them some fresh water. One thing you find with a lot of dogs, I learned the hard way, is that dogs can have a severe toxicity with salt. So if your dog, like my Goofy Golden, likes to drink the salt water when you're going swimming, make sure you have tons and tons of fresh water with you. You need to make sure you limit the intake of the salt water that they have and make sure they're drinking plenty of fresh water. We had actually my golden, he was only about 6 months old, and we took him, and he was having fun, and everybody thought he was the funniest thing in the world. He would be batting at the water with his paws and catching it with his mouth as it, jumped up. So he had all this salt water in him, but it wasn't so pretty when the people next to us ended up with everything in his stomach on their blanket. Nor was it pretty when we got back into the dog park and he passed out. So that was a rather scary experience and a lesson learned. I ended up rushing him to my vet, which is Brock Animal Hospital. Love Dr. Brock and Dr. Thomas. I actually hike over to Pinellas Park here from Tampa just because I love them. Been going to them for 10 years now. And I brought my Yogi Bear in, and they had to run a urinalysis and all sorts of stuff. And he was in really bad shape just from that one exposure to the salt water. His kidneys really couldn't take it. So we had to really flesh him out and give him some meds, and unfortunately it was just a waiting game. Thank God he got better, but we limit our time going to fresh, to salt water with him, and just really keep an eye on him and make sure he's drinking fresh water, not salt. So anywho, it's a really, really great place to go. I mean, I know everybody doesn't have all the time in the world, but again, you have to remember even just 15 minutes a day that you spend solid playing with your dogs, it's more than they'll ask for. It's really just anything you can do for them, because most of us, like myself, I have a full-time job, so I'm gone 10 hours a day. By the time I get home, if I don't have the little guy going to soccer and taekwondo, and he does acting and modeling, my 7-year-old, or if I'm not here at the studio, or I'm not going to do shots, or for not shots, drinking shots for the dogs. Those shots drinking could be fun. If I'm going for medications, like we do our own dewormers and of course flea and tick and all of that stuff. Some minor stuff that we don't necessarily need the vet for. I do a lot of that, or we're transporting. We could be picking up, like we had 2 adults arrive yesterday via plane. One of our wonderful pilots and pause pilots, Susan Delgado, came from Georgia on a personal trip down here, and she stopped and went all the way over to Alabama and picked up some dogs for our group and for Pet Pals and brought them down. And so now we have 2 of our adult dogs, gorgeous, gorgeous chocolate golden looking dog, and a Border Collie mix. So I'll be excited to see them as they come over here. Right now they're kind of hanging out in our kennel we use in Seffner, which is Petville. They're hanging out with Troy right down there, and he takes excellent care of them, and we truly appreciate that. So hopefully we'll get them moved into foster care tomorrow, and we'll see what they're like. But there are just nonstop days in rescue when you're a core member or a board member or run it, where it's another full-time job. We love our volunteers, and we would love to have some folks who volunteer. Sometimes people can't foster, and we totally understand that. Maybe you can transport. You don't need to have a big honking SUV or truck. Even a sedan, you can get a litter of puppies in or 1 adult in. Anything helps, because we have a lot of time during the day that we find I'm at work in Clearwater, and I'm stuck there from 9 to 5, and a plane comes in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I have no way of getting to Tampa Executive, or in this case yesterday was Lakeland Regional. So we definitely need folks who are willing to do that. If you'd like to volunteer for any of the rescues, but if you'd like to volunteer for FAR, it's Foster4, and it's the number 4, Foster4FAR at yahoo.com. You can always contact us on our Facebook page. We'll be happy to answer that. We're on it constantly. And you can also ask questions on my page, which is on Facebook, is Barking Out Loud. So any of your questions you have there, I'd love to have them. We're just about at the end of our show, so maybe we'll let our puppies play a little bit. But I wanted to definitely just take the time to thank you for joining us. And again, please take my words to heart if you are adopting a puppy or looking to adopt a puppy. And now it's time for me to enjoy the time and go play with some puppies. So have a good night, everybody. God bless, and enjoy the rest of your week.